Liz, you're just right about these things. It's been wild to see. Nobody suffered more for saying true things about our current news environment with Jeffrey Epstein than you.
Probably
And
true,
so,
yes.
yes, I mean, truly, yeah. And I think you and maybe Virginia Roberts or whatever.
Who's now dead.
Right. That's right.
Rest in peace.
Right. Who, of course, would probably, we early in the show, we said that she would be the top booking today. Prince Andrew is arrested. Of course, she would be like the number one person that you'd want on your show to talk about this stuff, and she's dead. So it's like extremely convenient.
Right. And she did more, in my opinion, to not just expose Prince Andrew, but to expose several high profile people in Jeffrey Epstein's ring who were co-conspirators or clients. And specifically with Virginia Giuffre, so she started calling out Prince Andrew many years ago, and she's been involved in many civil lawsuits to take down several of Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirators, and a lot of the information from those cases have come out. So we did learn about what Prince Andrew did to her and what other co-conspirators did to her through these lawsuits over the years. But where we really learned a lot of information, more information about the disgraced Prince, is from her book, Nobody's Girl, which came out earlier this year. And in that book, she revealed more bombshells about Prince Andrew that had not been revealed before. And one of the most disturbing things that she revealed in her book was that she was forced to be in this, she called it an orgy, but I would call it a gang rape because she was raped. So she was forced to be in this gang rape situation where she was raped by Prince Andrew, Jeffrey Epstein. And she says that there were also 8 girls that were raped in this gang rape. And she implies that the girls were underage. And here's something that's even more concerning. She said several of the girls didn't even speak English. They spoke like very little to no broken English. So who are these girls, going to the islands that can barely speak any English? Like, where are they coming from? Why are there girls that can't even speak English hanging out, on the island with all these satanic pedophiles? So that is something new that we learned from Virginia Giuffre's book. But then, of course, she's been exposing him for years. She released the photo of her and Prince Andrew, and initially they denied it. They claimed that wasn't him. And then, ironically, I'm sure you remember this. Remember his excuse about trying to claim that wasn't him in the photo, and he wasn't really with Virginia Giuffre the night that she claimed that he raped her. He tried to say that he was at the Pizza Express. That was his alibi for, not being with Virginia Giuffre. And the irony of that, Benny, now that we know, I should say not we, now that because I knew, you've had me on before, long before anyone else did. Now that the world knows that Pizzagate is real, always has been real. And furthermore, these satanic pedophiles use pizza as a pedophile code word. So when he used a pizza restaurant as his excuse, as his alibi, which was BS as to why he wasn't with Virginia Giuffre when she claimed that, she was with him and he would sexually assaulted her. Do you think that might have been his way of mocking her and the masses?
Yes. I mean, I would like to ask when it comes to Virginia Giuffre, what are some of the perhaps things that you could elucidate for us that would point to potentially higher charges here? I think that's the question. So we put up all of the evidence of Prince Andrew effectively insider trading, and that's pretty obvious in the emails. He's giving classified information to the world's foremost pederast. He's excited to share stock trading tips, potential business moves. He's a trade envoy, so he has insider knowledge of this stuff. It's insider trading, right? And Jeffrey Epstein did an enormous amount of that. Jeffrey Epstein famously said he wouldn't buy a stock unless he had inside information about what was going to happen with that company. And so this is something that he was using to get filthy rich, as part of where some of his fortune comes from. I think they have Prince Andrew dead to rights on you were abusing your position and classified information. What if they accelerated those charges? And you're just such a subject matter expert on this. Where would you see it going if they actually could accelerate those charges? The one thing that we brought up earlier in the show, Liz, is that Israeli security was installed and monitoring cameras in Jeffrey Epstein's apartments. You can see in the emails that they were setting up cameras on the beds and like photographing the beds. The DOJ has straight up released pornographic videos. They blacked everything out, but that were clearly filmed surreptitiously. The statement that this is not a blackmail operation is insane and ludicrous at this point.
Yeah.
Do you believe, and it's a two-part question, do you believe they have hard evidence of Prince Andrew and, these crimes? And, do you think that will be what happens next? Do you think they'll accelerate these charges?
Yeah, I do. So I'll get to Israel Mossad in a second. But let me start with this. So he was arrested for misconduct in office, which, by the way, can hold up to a life sentence in prison. Like that could be the punishment, just for that alone. But specifically, he was arrested because he shared allegedly confidential government information with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, that's very interesting and intriguing to me because, as you and I know, Jeffrey Epstein was running a blackmail intelligence operation. He was working with Mossad, or was just flat out Mossad, or maybe Mossad was working for him. We also know that he was working with the CIA. The reason why I think this is interesting is because this, I believe, is Pandora's box that is about to be opened, because this investigation could prove that Jeffrey Epstein, without a shadow of a doubt, was indeed an intelligence asset. And that's why he was trying to get, state secrets from the UK, because he was running an intelligence operation. I will add that there have been people for years that have talked about how Jeffrey Epstein was a Mossad agent, or was working for Mossad, or basically is Mossad. And there are people that have even gone on the record and they have said that Jeffrey Epstein used to brag about how he basically had Prince Andrew completely blackmailed. And he bragged about how he was giving all the information he got from Prince Andrew to Mossad. So that would be, obviously, you would think that would be a huge problem with the UK and their government. And he even used to say that his get with Prince Andrew, he used to refer to it as the Super Bowl trophy, because getting someone from the royal family to be blackmailed and compromised, and to be also getting potentially state secrets on their country from that person, would be a Super Bowl trophy for someone running an intelligence operation for a foreign country. And that would be, of course, Jeffrey Epstein. So that is my opinion on that. And then what was your other question that you asked?
Yeah, do you think they're going, so they have the compromise. Do you think that the charges will include some of these allegations when it comes to Virginia Giuffre?
Oh, right.
Do you think that they're going to actually go all the way and charge him for these sexual crimes?
I do. I see. I think that some people might be frustrated because, hello, if anything, this man should be getting arrested for raping children. Hello, like you would think that would be the crime that they focus on. I do think that they will get to that, and I do believe that there's other law enforcement, including in our own country and in other countries, because there are other countries doing investigations into Epstein's co-conspirators, such as France, believe it or not. But I do think that this will lead to that eventually. I do believe that Virginia Giuffre pretty much laid out the evidence that he, raped her. And I do believe that there are other foreign governments that do have the evidence of him raping people, perhaps Virginia Giuffre as well, and perhaps maybe even these other girls that couldn't speak English on the island. So I do think that this will lead to that. But I like that this is what they're focusing on, because this is something that hasn't been focused on before. The fact that they're focusing on him potentially selling UK's state secrets to someone working for another foreign government, being Israel's Mossad, that's a big problem. And, all the shows out there trying to say that he wasn't Mossad, or he had no connections to Mossad, or no connections to the CIA. Well, that's going to get debunked real quickly, hopefully quicker than they try to say Pizzagate wasn't real.
What about the royal family? I mean, could you just, I don't know if, I'm not sure if you're a royal family expert, but this seems to be a really tough, we had a royal family expert, kind of a monarchist on earlier. His name's Harry Cole. He's a great dude. But this seems to play into some of the darker arts around royal family theories and what this institution is really about.
Well, that's the thing. You have King Charles out there, and he's like, we need the law to take its course, and he's advocating for justice, if he is convicted and proven to be guilty. But, I would argue that Prince Andrew is not alone in terms of members of the royal family who are involved in not just criminal behavior, but I would argue the rape, torture, and trafficking of children. You have to remember that Prince Andrew, he brought not only Jeffrey Epstein, but Ghislaine Maxwell, like all over the royal family's properties in the UK. I mean, there's even a photograph of Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein at the Queen's lodge from years ago. So it was both Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell that appears to have all kinds of access to the royal family. And yeah, there's them. That's not at the lodge. That is
the throne.
That's just the throne. No big deal.
Throne in Buckingham Palace. The throne in Buckingham Palace, and Ghislaine Maxwell's sitting on it. Buckingham Palace. But then, so you have, and that's Kevin Spacey. So, another alleged pedophile who's been someone that's been accused of, raping children and, male adults by several people who all just happen to die or commit suicide, like Jeffrey Epstein. But, I believe that the royal family, there's many members that are guilty. It's not just Prince Andrew. Maybe he was just the sloppy one, or the one that was dumb enough to get, caught. But I do believe there are many other, unfortunately, that are implicated. And I also just want to take the time to point out that who else was the royal family very tight with and very close with for years, to the point that I believe that they, what's it called when they honor him? They give you the state funeral? Was it?
No, when they give you the what's it called when they in the UK when they give you that special title? I'm drawing a blank on what it's called. Whatever. So
sure, a knighthood.
That's it. Yes, sir. Yeah. So knighthood. I believe they knighted Jimmy Savile. Do you remember Jimmy Savile?
Yes.
That guy was a serial pedophile who raped hundreds of children. He raped, abused hundreds of children. He allegedly murdered people too. He was very close to the royal family. He was given knighthood. This was someone that was a BBC star, very close to the royal family. He may have been even a worse pedophile than Jeffrey Epstein. So what we see with the royal family is that they have a serious problem being connected to a lot of people who are flat out pedophiles and are sex traffickers. And I do not think it's just Prince Andrew who is guilty.
Well, this guy's a monster. I mean, the Jimmy Savile story is so dark. It's so evil.
Did you know that he used to have special access at the Children's Hospital in the UK? And he was busted, not just molesting children there, but also trying to have sex with dead bodies. Benny, these are the kinds of people we're dealing with. And
yes.
As you've been reporting and as you read in the Epstein files, which I've been saying for years, is that the stuff that these co-conspirators and clients of Jeffrey Epstein were doing goes, believe it or not, way beyond the raping and trafficking of children. They were torturing children. They were engaging in cannibalism. They were committing satanic ritualistic abuse on these children. Human hunting parties. There's been stories of human hunting parties, particularly, by the way, in the UK for years. A lot of people now are digging up old testimony from survivors, including children, that said that they were victims of not just satanic ritualistic abuse, but human hunting parties. I mean, this rabbit hole is deep, and unfortunately it's just going to get worse and worse. But the truth is coming out, and that is a good thing. And I firmly believe that we will see justice for these people. And what happened today is a very huge and positive step in the right direction. And also, I think it's really good for Trump's administration and the DOJ, because if the UK that's been protecting these Muslim rape gangs is now, actually pursuing justice for a very high profile client of Jeffrey Epstein who was raping children and Virginia Giuffre, well, guess what? That makes our country look really bad. If we don't do anything, it's going to make President Trump's administration look really bad if he doesn't do anything. And so this is putting amazing pressure on President Trump and his DOJ, pressure that's needed. And I do have faith that they will pursue justice for Epstein's co-conspirators here in the United States as well. So
So, a couple of things.
Mhm.
One, you're an expert on code words, and you brought up Pizzagate, and many people have been looking at sort of the let's go out for pizza and grape soda. This
Mhm.
is something that was constant and ubiquitous
Mhm.
in the Epstein emails. It's very
Mhm.
strange, and of course, used in a manner that you would, you know, never say it. I think it
No.
was his doctor that he was speaking with.
Mhm.
Is constantly obsessed with going for pizza and grape soda, and no one can know. It'll be our little secret. Like it's very creepy stuff.
Yeah, and
Also
we're
the
talking
jerky
about it.
stuff. Also the jerky stuff. Like I just wanted to
Yeah.
get your breakdown of this. Like these code words. People have been quite interested in that, and get your
Okay.
your expert's take on it.
Right. So when the Podesta emails came out in 2016, which was the crux of what Pizzagate was about, because in those emails they were using a ton of code words, and the main one was pizza, and they were using it in a context that does not apply to food. And so pizza is a pedophile code word. It references a child and or it references child porn. That's been known for a very long time. Actually, I think pizza has been used as a pedophile code word. I found evidence of it being used as a pedophile code word going back to the late 80s. But so there's other code words as well. So there were code words in the Podesta emails, such as the walnut sauce and like pizza, like map and hot dogs and other things. And then fast forward to the Epstein files, which a lot of these emails came out, or I'm sorry, were sent after the Podesta emails came out. And we do see some of the same code words, such as pizza, and again, used in a context that does not apply to food. And also, a lot of these emails are very sexual in nature. So if you really were just talking about pizza, like you wouldn't be talking about your libido or like, Epstein eating Viagra, like that doesn't make sense. But what I noticed is that there's new code words in the Epstein emails. And it's my opinion that they started using new code words, which they do. Pedophiles are known for doing this. They are known for changing the code words, or a code word can mean one thing in one region, but in a different region has a little bit of a different definition, but they're still pedophile code words. But what I learned with the Epstein emails is that there are new code words. They're using new code words. And it's my opinion that because pizza became a pretty wide known code word after the Podesta emails came out in 2016, that I think they started coming up with new code words. And actually, through the years before the Epstein emails came out, I started tracking all these like high profile celebrities and politicians that I knew were pedophiles, and like paying really close attention to their social media pages and whatnot. And I believe that a lot of them were starting to use new code words, because they used to use pizza all the time openly, even on their social media. And one word that I also noticed that they were using a lot that didn't seem to be in the context of food was avocados. So I think because pizza kind of opened the floodgates on pizza being a code word back in 2016, even though the mainstream media didn't acknowledge it, they wised up and realized, okay, now we have to use new code words because the world's starting to catch on. So that's why we see the new ones like jerky and grape soda. We can't know for sure what each code word means. Like, grape soda, some people think that it's a reference to adrenochrome. Jerky, people believe that's a reference to human meat and them, the fact that they're cannibals and they're eating children, which yes, they are. Literally, they are eating children in addition to raping them and sacrificially murdering them and torturing them. So, but yeah, at least people now know that they are using code words, and a lot of those code words are food words.
Yeah, there's one jerky email where he goes, "I would really like to do some. I'd really like to learn more jerky recipes at my friend's restaurant, Cannibal." What? Like I'm somewhat paraphrasing it, but I think I got it almost perfectly. Look, he's a new restaurant called Cannibal. Let's get beef jerky. Oh, okay. It's like, great. You guys are you're so smart.
I know, so slick. Well, and there was another email where Jeffrey Epstein made a comment about him having an upset stomach, and someone asked, was it the food you ate? And then he made a comment about it being normal food, not jerky. So is jerky, like beef jerky, is that not normal food? Or well, if it's human meat, it wouldn't be normal food, of course. So yeah, there's a lot of evidence proving that they are indeed cannibals. And a lot of these celebrities just openly admit to being cannibals. Like some have just openly said that they're cannibals. Chrissy Teigen has said more than once that she would like to eat human meat, and thinks it's hilarious and talks about it all the time. And then, of course, we have the satanic witch, Marina Abramovic, who has her satanic spirit cooking dinners where you mix blood, semen, urine, and breast milk, which, by the way, where do they get the blood and the semen and the breast milk? Like, where, like, I mean, there's videos of her on the internet doing these rituals. And then also at her little spirit cooking dinners, they're depicting cannibalism. You see, like, maybe something that, like, we would hope is a cake, but it looks like a human body. And then actually at some of her dinners, you see like humans, like actual real humans, like as centerpieces. You know, there's a picture of her, a famous picture of her and Lady Gaga, and it looks like there's like a body and a casket. And then like they're taking a spoon and licking it. And, you know, they kind of make it seem like, oh, this is just art. You know, like we're not really eating them. Or, well, no, actually, I look back at all of those pictures now, knowing what we know now, I guarantee you that those pictures that are public, that they are actually eating human meat. It's not art. We know it's not art.
Marina Abramovich was in a recent podcast. Producers are pulling it up right now. And this clip went viral, and she's like, I'm a victim. I can't even walk down the street anymore. Yeah. I think that you also shared this. What's your response to her? Yeah, there it is. And holy smokes. I mean, seriously, she is morphing into what does in fact look like someone who has a gingerbread house in the woods. Right. Like I there's no other way to explain it. Like, why would you on purpose look like this?
I know. It's like, I swear, I'm like, she must be running low on adrenochrome. Like, I swear these people, I've always said this, when you're that evil on the inside, it eventually manifests in the physical. And now we're seeing like, you know, eyes wide open. We're seeing her actually like fully morph into a satanic witch. I mean, she looked like, if you were going to cast like a witch, like in a play or a movie, like that's who you would cast. So yeah, it's funny because when we did Outer Shadows, you know, Mike Smith was the director of Outer Shadows. By the way, you need to have him on. In 2020, we exposed her in Outer Shadows. That went
one of the most important documentaries ever made.
Yeah, and I mean, before it was banned everywhere, of course. But like she doesn't like us because we went scorched earth exposing her and her spirit cooking and all her demonic crap in 2020. And after Outer Shadows came out, went viral, people were like, you know, just roasting her all over social media. And they were, and at the same time, she had this deal with Microsoft, and people were complaining and like, you know, just like going after Microsoft because they just learned the truth about who she really is. And so Microsoft ended up actually canceling her deal, which was amazing. And then she like ran to the New York Times, you know, and they did this like softball interview with her to try to rehab her image, which didn't work. And then the New York Times, you know, reached out to Mike Smith, and they try to get a comment from him, but they either didn't quote him accurately or just didn't quote him at all because, you know. But anyways, the chickens are coming home to roost, and things are coming full circle now. And it's really funny to watch these like horrible demonic people who we know have done horrible things to children, you know, do podcast tours and try to paint themselves as victims. I mean, I find it actually super entertaining, and I just can't get enough popcorn, Benny.
Yeah, the Jay-Z makeout session was really a little
oh my god, yeah.
Me. Yeah, this is the guy who puts Bad Bunny in the Super Bowl. Got it. Okay, that's all. And Lady Gaga, of course, right? Like the moment I saw Lady Gaga, I thought of you, Liz. I was like, oh no, oh, it's Lady Gaga.
Those are like, I mean, of course, those are her two top, like, you know, spirit cooking, like wizards and witches to have in. Remember, she trained Lady Gaga. She actually like threw Lady Gaga in the woods, like stripped her naked and blindfolded her to find her way back home, which by the way is very similar to what they do with the MK Ultra mind control programming. So yeah. So yeah, I mean, the Super Bowl halftime performance was pretty much just, you know, a spirit cooking reunion. But
that's right. It really did feel like a ritual, didn't it? Yeah. This is the jump scare. I didn't even know this photo existed. Whew, what a jump scare. Goodness gracious. Wow.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. So that was last year in Japan. So now, like, here we have a direct tie. I mean, we knew that Marina Abramovic was tied to Hillary Clinton's circle. We know that John Podesta, who is her former campaign chairman, and Tony Podesta go to spirit cooking dinners because it's in their emails. But here we have a direct tie between, you know, one witch being Hillary Clinton with another satanic witch, Marina Abramovic. And that was last year. They were at some event in Japan. So
Perfect.
she looks a little less witchy there. So like, it's just like, now that the truth's coming out, like her full
Ronald Dahl. The Ronald Dahl quote: "If you are evil and wicked and twisted on the inside, no matter what, you will become wicked and twisted on the outside." Like there will be a guaranteed metamorphosis, because we're all spiritual creatures after all. Like we all have a spirit. It's not just the body, it's the spirit. And I think there's a lot of people whose spirits are very disturbed right now over these revelations. They don't know what to do or where to turn. And I just want to end with this, Liz. Like, what would you like to see happen here? You know, and instead of like painting with broad brushes, like, who would you really like to see focused upon? And after reading these Epstein files, what would be your biggest takeaway? How would you like to see, perhaps, if there is such a thing as justice in this world, there's going to be God's justice, obviously, and it's going to be horrifying for these people. But what would you like to see done on this mortal plane?
Yeah. Well, you know, I will say there's been a positive development. There are several UN experts that are calling for like global governments to, you know, to prosecute Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirators. They have to come out with statements saying that this is not going away and this should not go away. And they also implied that, you know, some of these people should be tried in international courts because, you know, a lot like Jeffrey Epstein, for example, and a lot of his co-conspirators, they didn't just commit crimes in one country. They committed crimes in multiple countries. And I would argue that many of these people, maybe all of them, should go through military tribunals because there's so many of them. And again, these crimes are not just like, did not just cross state lines, the United States, being New York and New Mexico and Ohio, where Les Wexner lives, who's a co-conspirator, by the way, of Jeffrey Epstein. They were international. So I would like to see military tribunals. I would like to see like Nuremberg 2.0, and like none of them escape, you know, and then come and work for the US government or something. Like, I think they all need to have a fast trial through the military would be amazing. And then they should all get the death penalty. Because like, there's no place for people that like rape, torture, and eat children in this world. But humanity cannot survive and thrive when those kinds of people, are number one here and existing and roaming freely, but number two, when they're in positions of power. So I do think it's great that we have multiple countries appearing to pursue justice, because this needs to be a global effort. I think it's great that even though the UN has sketchy ties itself and has been tied to child sex trafficking, and also had Ghislaine Maxwell speak for them, but at least they're doing the right thing now. And so, yeah, they all need to be held accountable, and they all need to face justice 100%. And I do have faith that it will happen. I know a lot of people don't, but I do. And I was right about Pizzagate. So
you share the title with Alex Jones on this program, a title we bestow on virtually no one, which is the most right woman on the internet.
Oh, he's the most right
man on the internet. And yeah, thank you, Liz. Godspeed. And here's Liz's social media handle. She has 500, we're just going to round up, 600,000 subscribers. Here you can follow her on X. She does some really remarkable and important work. And if you haven't seen Out of the Shadows, and if you haven't seen this documentary, it will change your life. And it is more true today, is more terrifying today than the first time I watched it, which was 3 or 4 years ago. So yeah.
And I do think that we'll see, you know, people involved in the Podesta emails go down soon. I would love to see John Podesta get arrested soon. I think that day is coming very soon. And then, of course, you know, Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton is like one of my number one targets. So we'll see.
Thank you, Liz. Godspeed.
Thanks, Benny. Keep up the great work.
Godspeed, Liz. Thank you.